A long time ago, men fought over who had the one true path to God. Now that sounds familiar, doesn't it? We know that today in modern times, people will kill for their beliefs. But what about back in old Britain? What were the religions like back then? Well, if you're interested to find out, stay tuned. Today we are going to look at how violent old Britain's religions really were. You are watching this channel. And today we're looking at the violence of old Britain's religions. Now to get us in the mood, let's start with some ominously swelling music. So there we have it, some eerie organ music to set the scene. Now, let's show some shots of crumbling ancient churches, perhaps some ruined monasteries, maybe even some battlefields. What we want to do is give this video a nice, dark, and mysterious atmosphere. Then we can get into the first religious conflict by showing a battle between two groups. Maybe they're two different Christian sects fighting over which one is more pure. Or perhaps we could show a massacre of an entire monastery by invading Vikings. If we don't want to get too gory, we could just show artistic depictions of these battles rather than historical reenactments. As we pan across the battlefield littered with dead bodies, we can place some text on the screen telling our audience the date of this battle and what it was called. Then when we move on to the next scene, we can show another battle between two different religious factions. This could be a battle between Christians and pagans. Perhaps we could see a group of villagers burning a suspected witch alive in the center of a town square. We could delve into the archives and find some truly terrifying images of people being tortured and burned at the stake. Perhaps we could show some old-timey artwork depicting a hellish vision. Perhaps something out of a 19th century illustrated book of the Bible. There are plenty of ways that we can depict these things without being too graphic. Then we can move on to showing other major events, perhaps a large-scale religious war. We could show two armies clashing on a battlefield. Or maybe we could focus on a single decisive moment during the battle, such as a knight slaying an enemy leader. We can use text on the screen again to tell our audience the date of this war and what it was called. Then we can move on and show another major event, such as a group of soldiers storming a city and killing everyone inside. Again, we can focus on a single moment in time rather than show the entire sacking of a city. Perhaps we could show a woman hiding in a cupboard with her children as soldiers ransack her home and kill her family. Then when she opens the cupboard door, the soldiers are gone and her children are dead. We can use the same technique to show scenes of people being put to death for practicing witchcraft. Perhaps we could show a woman being tied to a post as she's accused of being a witch. The camera focuses on her terrified face as the crowd chants for her to be burned alive. Then the screen fades to black and the sound of her screams echoes around. Now all throughout this video, we should be using a dramatic narration style to really convey the intensity of these conflicts. But while we certainly want to make sure that our audience knows how brutal and horrible these conflicts were, we also don't want to make the video one-sided. We need to try to remain informative and balanced. This means making sure that we show all sides of these conflicts, including showing why people believed the things that they did. It will also help if we can find some quotes from people involved in these conflicts or from people reporting on them. For example, we could find some quotes from letters written by soldiers who took part in religious wars, or perhaps we could find some excerpts from sermons given by fanatical preachers. Now, here's an idea that might freak some people out. Maybe we could even include some clips from modern-day preachers who share some similarities with the fanatical preachers of the past. There are plenty of religious fanatics around today, and it would untake much editing to make them look like they re-straight out of the 16th century. Another thing that will help us make this video awesome is music. We'll need some soaring orchestral scores to play whenever we show scenes of epic battles, or perhaps some quiet and somber music to play over shots of people suffering persecution. So now we've shown some of the most horrific and brutal events in Britain's religious history, perhaps ending with a plague which killed hundreds of thousands of people and was blamed on Jews living in Britain. Now we can bring our video to a close with a few moments of quiet reflection. Perhaps we could pull up a chair and sit next to our audience, as we talk directly to the camera and summarize how awful these conflicts were and what we can learn from them. Now, while we don't want to be preachy, we do want to leave our audience thinking about the cost of religious fanaticism. Perhaps we could end by asking the audience what they think would have caused these terrible events to happen. How did humanity descend into such chaos? Is it human nature to be violent and cruel? Or were these events caused by something else entirely? There are so many possibilities when it comes to covering the violence of old Britain's religions. Hopefully we've given you some ideas for your own videos on this topic. Thanks for watching.